Hey everyone. So, I wanted to wait till my story was done before bringing him to the channel, which it finally is. And I'm doing this now instead of later in the week because I don't know how busy I'm gonna get this week. So, welcome to the reading of my original character, Drake the Demon King's origin story. I also want to say this is written from his point of view. So he's narrating it. Like, as far as context of the story, I'm not telling his story. It's him telling his own story, sort of a thing. And with that, let's get on with it. Alright. Chapter 1. Birth of a Hero. My story's not one for the faint of heart. My past is one of sorrow, violence, and hardship. I was born in a magical explosion, created from a clash of dragon and demon. The explosion formed a vessel, while these magical energies of two powerful magic entities were powerful enough to create a consciousness. The form and consciousness fused, then I was born. Being birthed by magic, I was formed with the intelligence equivalent to a human 20-year-old, not an infant. The energies that created me granted powers from both species. I am a hybrid of dragon and demon. People have come to know me by many names. The most well-known are Drake the Demon and Demon Drake. I'm an anti-hero. I fight for what's right. However, most of the time, I can be brutal. I battle for the forces of justice and honor against whatever may threaten the innocent. I'm rather brooding, vigilant, restless. A life of hardships will do that to you. Being a hybrid of two species that are bitter enemies, you can imagine creates inner turmoil. Two immense magical enemies fighting within me grants power unimaginable. Sorry, bug, driving me nuts. But if left unchecked, can easily rip this vessel apart. To combat this, I will talk about one of my few allies, who forged a sort of power-dampening Tonto knife. Chapter 2, Making of a Champion. This is a short story. Okay, my chapters are going to be short. And it's going to jump around a lot. Right from my creation, I've had to fight. I was, after all, born on a battlefield between two forces, hostile of each other. They knew what I was. To them, I was nothing but an abomination. I still didn't know how to control my powers. And with one intense blast, both armies were blown into oblivion. And that sounds OP right now, but just wait. It has a huge drawback later in the story. Creating an explosion, I didn't know who I was, where I could go, as a half-demon. I don't need to eat. That was not my concern, but rather finding a way to control this power within me before it ripped me apart. Warning. This next line gets rather graphic, so skip forward like 10 seconds if you don't want to hear this. From when I start reading it, because I have to refine where the heck it is. Alright. Every second without my power dampener, my veins and magical energies all feel like they're being slowly ripped out of my body and shoved back in, just to be ripped out again. Over and over, tearing me apart from the inside out. 24 hours later, I was ready to give up. I felt like I couldn't make it. I knew I had maybe 6 hours to correct this issue or die. Just then, I met my savior. Without him, I would have died one day after being born. A sorcerer and blacksmith, specialist in enchanted weaponry. The big thundering giant saw I needed help. I told him my situation, and in 4 hours, he made this power-dampening Tonto knife. That also slowly repaired the damage from having such a power struggle within me. Later, we sat down to get to know each other. After all, he did save my life. This is when I learned the Scandinavian behemoth's name, Oscar. He explained his reasoning for trusting me. How working with magic gave him the ability to read magical signatures and see how much power a being possesses. He saw how I had an energy level higher than can be contained. He explained how he'd seen this only once before. A young traveler thought I could help, but in the time it took to explain what happened, the young traveler collapsed before my eyes. Before I could help, he died. The power that had recently possessed him had already done too much damage. If you had found me 2 hours later, it would have been the end. You just made it. This is very much a dark story. I should have said this at the beginning, but this story is very much dark. And it stays about this dark through the first couple chapters, so yeah. When he told me all this, I was glad to have a friend and ally like Oscar. Someone that knew exactly what I was, yet didn't fear me. But we got maybe 30 minutes to talk before everything went horribly wrong. Remember I said in my creation I blew away 2 armies? Turns out both sides knew and hunted me down. Both feared creatures. Oscar was no match for them, for 2 armies of basically immortal beings. I told him to focus on evacuating residents. I was born with one purpose: protect the innocent. There was only one way to do this. Kill the threat. The demons, believed to be the most dangerous force ever, not only possessing dark magic, but nearly indestructible, as the only weapon that can hurt them is magic. But I had to fight without my demonic dark magic. Dark magic is a bit like alchemy. Every spell has a price. This means I only had one way to beat them. And why I had to have my new friend get everyone out. I had to sheath the new Tonto knife, and unleash a blast equivalent to the one that decimated both armies. But what I didn't know at the time, this was dark magic, with a very heavy price. On the third use, you will be banished to another dimension permanently. A dimension of eternal suffering. Humans know as hell. Considering you are reading this, I obviously never did use this power again. It's beyond dark magic. It's the worst type of dark magic ever discovered. Abyssal magic. A power invoking the might of the devil himself. With this blast, once again, it was over. Then I immediately pulled the Tonto back out to protect myself from destruction. Let me just say, I may have written this. Would it be written, wrote, sorry. Yeah, so I may have wrote this, but I did not memorize it for the video. When the fight was over, I went to try and find Oscar. And when I did, what I saw terrified me. My new and only friend. About to get graphic again, right here. Broken, beaten, bloody on the ground, with some wizard casting a spell on him. I got mad at the wizard. I tried to hurt him. I was out for blood, but I couldn't touch him, as he had the type of magic specifically developed by celestial forces to combat demons. Holy magic. He could have done a lot of damage, or so I thought. I later learned he was casting a holy light spell, temporarily alter someone's magic signature to repair normally fatal or permanent injuries. And I know that what that implies is that it's basically like power over the dead. It's not. What I mean by fatal injuries is something that will kill you if it's not fixed, and normally is unfixable, like say you're bleeding out. That's the kind of thing I mean by fatal injury. Something that will kill you after a certain period of time, not instant death like decapitation. Back to the story. Who are you? They call me the Sage. The Sage? Like a magic guru? Sort of. I'm a master of all magics, even those I don't possess. I teach, but not fight. I took a vow of peace long ago. I've seen something within you, something unique. You have two magic signatures, one of atomic origin, the other demonic. This suggests you are a demon-dragon hybrid. I was quite surprised this guy I didn't know at the time figured out exactly what I was. By looking at me, What he had said scared me greatly. Not only did he know instantly what I was, but he said this in front of my barely breathing friend and savior, Oscar. But I'm glad he knew, or I wouldn't have lasted much longer. Chapter 3, My Training, My Teacher. I'm going to train you in your magic powers for the fight ahead. You must learn your atomic or dragon magic, how to harness its full power, and keep your black demon magic under control. Like that spell you've cast twice. What do you mean? The blast you've used to blow away enemies twice. I can sense the magic residue and see 2 times. You must never tap into this power again. Both situations were caused by distress. I get this. And it was your only weapon. But if you use it again, what will happen is you'll suffer backblast. Instead of blowing away everything around you, the blast will backfire on you, ripping your body apart while sending your mind to the devil, an eternity of agony. You can't stay here. I'll take you to my dojo of magic. We arrived at the stranger's dojo. I didn't even know his name, but whether I trust him or not, the fact remains, I'm being hunted. I still can't control my demon magic. Not only this, but I have no way to fight this except this black magic. When we got to his dojo, it was rather unimpressive. A basic temple in the middle of nowhere. Looked more like a monastery than a school of mages. Then we entered the gate, and it was another world. Same unimpressive building, but inside was mages of every type imaginable. Much to my surprise, even the ever-evil magic known as necromancy, power over the dead. I was quite confused as to why a guy with holy magic would teach necromancy. Then I learned he didn't. The master quickly subdued the necromancer with the same spell he turned off my magic with. I don't know what he said, as he seems to have used magic to speak through minds. Sorry about that, just a rebellious student. He doesn't understand what using such magic entails. We need to start your training, however. According to the prophecy, you are the chosen one, destined to save our world from the war of dragon and demon. Last thing before we begin. I specialize in magic, but you have other abilities that my partner can help with. A master of combat with physical powers, like your dragon's strength and talons. I failed to mention it in the story, but in my story, dragon's talons are the strongest, you could almost call it blade in the world, because they're made out of a special type of magical bone material, and they are super thin and sharp. They pretty much have a hollow grind, you could call it, while being so thin there's almost no resistance, so they can pretty much cut through anything. And add dragon strength on top of it, they're a lethal weapon. Anyways, where were we? Okay, there we are. You obtain great power from both species. Thanks to your demon energy, by learning to channel it, you can imbue your talons and fists with demon energy, allowing you to strike with magic energy. This allows you to use such abilities against the demon threat. In order to control the demon power, you have to harness your dragon power. The first step to control the energy is to channel it. First is your atomic blasts. These blasts are the great magic attack of every dragon, but vary from dragon to dragon. Sometimes fire, sometimes plasma or ice. There's no way to know without seeing it. So to start, channel the energy into a blast and strike the target right there. First, feel the power swirling in your body, building within you. Feel the immense force. When you feel it trying to escape your body, just unleash the blast. And so I did. But it wasn't a normal dragon blast, rather a dark matter blast, just with the force of a dragon. This is clearly a result of being half demon. Well, I've never seen atomic blasts like this. Clearly dark matter, which is to be expected. Not only is it in line with a half-demon, but you need such power to accomplish this task. But what you need to do now is practice focusing the blast. You want more of a laser, less a pulse. This allows for a more controlled attack and more powerful, because all of that power is focused on one area. What's important, however, is now we know what we must know to control your demon magic. Demons possess a vast array of black magic, all extremely powerful, but also dangerous. Demons don't care who suffers from their power. However, making them dangerous, on top of their natural immunity to almost everything. Now, to channel this power, the first step is having a destination. Let's use your hands. This way you can use it both for close quarters combat and energy blasts. Just then, once again, attacked by the demons, but in training or not, they couldn't deal with a whole school of mages. The fight was won in less than a minute. Sage and his celestial magic was a major part of why it was so easy. Holy power was designed specifically to fight demons after all. That was to be expected. Due to your training, you'll soon be a threat to the demons, and you've kind of blown away many of their allies. Away. So Satan sees you as a threat. Which my Satan is, he's not like the real Satan. He is the devil incarnate. He is the devil, but he's a literal incarnation of evil in my story. That's all I can teach you about magic. What's left is focusing your blast into a beam, not a pulse. Because your demon magic is too dangerous to use. Dragons only have one blast. So that's all there is for that. Now you need to go meet with our dojo's physical power specialist. We call him the Shogun. 10 minutes later. Are you this Shogun guy? Yes, I am. You must be Drake. There's no time to waste. We need to get right to your training. The first step is to see where you're at. So come at me with everything you have. One rule. No ranged attacks. This staff is specifically designed to hit energy beings. You're not immune. So as I rushed in like a crazed berserker, before I knew what happened, I had been knocked to the ground. You can't just rush into battle. Not only are you about to fight one of the most powerful beings, an almighty deity, but combat is defend until you can strike. Not say, I'm open, kill me. If we were enemies, that would have been a fatal blow. Again. But I just got knocked to the floor again and again. I didn't get it. This guy with no powers was kicking my butt. I finally figured it out. So, finally, I launched his staff on the swing. I grabbed the end and had a leverage advantage until I yanked it out of his hands. Then brought my talons to his neck. I had won the fight. As in a real fight, I'd only need to thrust my hand forward, and I would deliver the kill blow. This section of training took me about 5 hours of getting knocked down to realize what needed to change. You're ready to complete the prophecy and stop Satan. Chapter 4. The War's End. Most of this chapter is just one big fight. Okay, now that we are joined together again, it's time we fill you in on how exactly you can reach Satan and why beating him will stop the demons. Satan is the ruler of the underworld and the incarnation of evil. The demons are his legion. If you beat Satan in battle, while you can never kill him, you will become the ruler of the demons. As a ruler, they will no longer follow an evil power. The holy guardian race of dragons will not have reason to hunt them down. Such an act will have them no longer see you as a dangerous abomination. So you see, the only way to end this war is to overthrow Satan as king of demons. There is a surefire way to get a one-on-one fight with Satan. The law of the underworld. The devil has no control over the challenge. It's a one-on-one fight. For stakes predetermined. The one challenge has 2 options. To either accept and set their stakes, or automatically lose and relinquish whatever their opponent's stakes would be. So if you challenge for the throne, he will have no choice. Finally, how you will get there. You, as a demon, can open portals between our world and the underworld. From this point on, there's nothing else we can do. It's all up to you. Unfortunately, they couldn't tell me how to open these portals. It wasn't magic or combat. Simply a demon ability. But I did figure out how, and I knew the second I went through I was in hostile territory. I had to be ready to fight any second. But to this day, the lack of attackers doesn't add up. Best I can figure, they don't want to do his dirty work. They just don't have a choice. Even this, however, doesn't add up. When I found Satan, I didn't waste any time. I challenged him instantly. Satan, I challenge you for your throne. Then with a huge menacing voice, Satan responded. I can't turn down the challenge. I can't turn that challenge down because of the underworld law. So you better be ready to sacrifice your life and the lives of all those you care for to eternal suffering. Because there's no backing out now. The fight started immediately. Satan was looking to end it right away and fired a huge blast of fire. The flames can't hurt me, but demons are shadow creatures. We can take the faraway sun, but this blast was coming right at me. Bright as the sun, and would surely end the fight if it landed. But I was able to quickly use the portal to dodge. Then I charged up a massive atomic blast, which threw the devil back and he slammed into the giant bedrock throne. Hard enough to crack it so much that one more impact would shatter it. The devil stood up unfazed and drew his enormous sword. Like a skyscraper would not be this big. But while his massive swing wasn't something I could dodge, his sword had no kind of magic. It was just a big sword. The devil seemed to forget I'm a shadow creature, so it just passed right through me. Like a blade of air. After which, he ditched his sword and started to charge me. After stepping to the side, I used my talons and ripped up his leg, slowing him down. Then he grabbed the axe on his belt. Yes, my Satan has a belt because why not? This weapon was a threat. However, as it was a fire-enchanted weapon, but the damage it would do, it would come from the brightness of the flame and its ability to get through my dragon-like skin. But Satan just threw it at me. A high throw, so I had to go down, because it was too wide to go to the side. Then charged me down low. He did manage to hit me, and I felt like I was burning alive. His flame-colored body was fortunately not very bright. But he made the mistake of doing a berserker charge, got his horns stuck in a rock. It didn't take him long to dislodge his thorns. But I had time to fire an atomic blast, blowing him right through the rock. The devil was getting sick of the fight and decided to try the sunblast again. But just then, I fired a beam of dark matter from my hand, slamming him to the ground and canceling his strike. Yet once again the devil rises, and was right up close again. So the hand-to-hand fight has begun. He tried to punch me in the head and end it. But I jumped above him and with a hard slash of my challenge to strike his head. As an immortal deity, the devil can't die. But the fight was over. With the fight won, the devil was beaten, and I became known as Drake the Demon King and the Devil Slayer. However, this name was false, because the devil is immortal. Even though I can beat him, you can't kill the devil. But I did take his role as the demon ruler, which, to my surprise, the demons' ruler, their king, is not confined to the underworld. Satan was, because he's the god of evil. He is the ultimate evil, so I then returned to the mortal world, you could call it. Not so much my home world. And when I returned, Oscar had been starting to recover. A demon had left him like that, he said. And if not for Sage, he would have died. The first part of my story ends here. The first enemy is beaten, but the devil is only the beginning. So, that is the origin story of my character, Drake the Demon King. I hope you all enjoyed that. I wanted to share his backstory to give a little context. Before he started appearing on the channel, I did make a couple videos way back while I was still developing the character, so I wouldn't really watch them. That's not at all what Drake is like now. Should probably just take those videos down. Anyways, I hope you all liked my character. I had announced he has art now a long time ago in another video drawn by Melodia Valentine on Discord. Which, if you guys want to join my Discord, link will be in the description below. And, God, she is amazing. I still can't get over the picture she made. Which is actually my YouTube profile picture. And Discord profile picture. Crap, there was something else I wanted to say. Jeez. There was something else I wanted to say. I'll think of it later and put it in the comments, but for now, see you all later. I really hope you enjoyed my story.